Today, we're diving into something pretty cool. Why creativity isn't just a nice little hobby, but actually a powerful science-backed tool for managing stress and building up some serious mental resilience.
So let's start with a question. When you're totally stressed out, feeling completely overwhelmed, does the thought of, say, picking up a paintbrush or a guitar even pop into your head? Or does it just feel like a luxury you can't afford?
Yeah, for most of us, creativity gets shoved way down to the bottom of the to-do list, right? It's that if I have time thing. You get to after all the real work, the chores, and all the other obligations are finally done. We see it as an indulgence, not a necessity.
But what if we've been looking at this all wrong? What if that creative act is actually one of the most productive things you can do for your well-being? Because, compelling research is showing that creativity is, in fact, a vital, clinically supported tool for mental health. Okay, let's get into the core idea here, mental scaffolding. Just think about it like this. When a building's being constructed or repaired, you see all that scaffolding around it, right? It's a temporary support structure. Well, in the exact same way, goal-centered creative tasks provide a support structure for your mind when it's under stress.
And this concept, it becomes incredibly powerful for anyone navigating intense stress or even dealing with conditions like depression and addiction. That creative process provides a crucial support system to help hold things together when you need it most.
So, how does this actually work? On a scientific level, what is it about the act of creating something that's so uniquely powerful for our brains?
Well, it's got so much more than just being a distraction. Active creation gives your brain a focused, goal-directed task to latch onto. It offers a way to release emotions without having to find the words. It helps you get into that deep focus known as a flow state. And this one's huge. It reinforces a sense of control, what psychologists call active agency.
And that is the key difference right there. Think about how we usually cope with stress. Maybe we binge watch a show or just scroll endlessly through social media. Those are passive activities. Creation, on the other hand, demands that you show up and actively participate. Let's actually put them side by side. On one hand, you've got passive coping. It often leaves us feeling like we have no control. And honestly, sometimes it can even make our anxiety worse. But then you look at active creation, things like sketching or writing, and that actually builds our sense of capability. It provides focused relief from the very thoughts causing all the stress.
So when you boil it down, these three benefits are really what set creativity apart. You get that nonverbal release for complicated feelings, you get into a flow state, which gives you a break from anxious thoughts, and you build that sense of active agency. These are all things that passive coping just doesn't deliver.
And this mental scaffolding, it becomes absolutely vital when our own internal self-control feels a little shaky. For people dealing with depression or addiction, the simple structure of a creative task can provide a grounding, external anchor that is so critical for recovery.
Okay, so the science is definitely compelling, but how do you even start? The great news is, and this is important, you absolutely do not need to be some great artist. This is all about the act, not the final outcome.
Here are three super simple, totally doable steps. First, try visual journaling. So instead of just writing, maybe add a quick sketch or a little collage. Or commit to just 15 minutes of structured play, like a coloring book or building a model. And really important, find balance. If you're exploring some tough emotions through your art, make sure you pair that time with a walk or a chat with a friend. And that brings us to a really key point. The goal here is to support your mental health, not to create a masterpiece at your own expense. The process itself should feel restorative, not like another draining task.
Which brings us to our final and maybe the single most important mindset shift you need to make to really unlock all these benefits. It is all about focusing on the process, not the product. When you truly focus on the process, that nagging fear of not being talented enough, it just melts away. It literally doesn't matter if your drawing is a bit crooked or your poem doesn't rhyme perfectly. That's not the point. The point is that you are doing it. So let this be the main takeaway. The real magic isn't in what you create, it's in the act of creating it. It's in the mixing of colors, the shaping of clay, the finding of words. The finished piece, that's just a nice souvenir of the time you invested in your own well-being.
So I'll leave you with this question. Just remember, it doesn't have to be a masterpiece. It just has to be a start. What mental scaffold will you begin to build today?